Hi, everybody. This is Angelique, and I'm here with Jazz or Jasmina. And
Hello.
Jasmina is somebody I met in the Dr. Joe Geniuses community. And she showed up at one of the Taster Constellation workshops. And it was actually a money constellation. And so money, business, career, and being a business coach herself, she was like, okay, I just want to look at what this is. And you had quite an experience. What would you like to share about, doing this type of making the invisible visible type of constellation work? How would it benefit people, like even people like you that know so much? What is the benefit of doing it in this type of business or money constellation, or even a constellation with new quantum potentials, which is what I like to do?
That's what you do. So that, first of all, I've been to some constellations prior, in my life. But the way you do constellations, this is the way I love, the thing, especially when there are, you call them blind constellations, right? When people don't know their roles, but they still have to, like, oh, what are you sensing? What are you experiencing? I love that part, because that means that our rational brain can't influence, right, the outcome in any way.
No.
It just you need to focus on your body. You need to focus on your sensations. You need to focus, what are you receiving or perceiving about certain, person, topic, or whatever is going on. And I love it. Love the way you do it. So it's great. Yeah, I've been to now more than just one constellation, and the one was about money, but the best part, so I wanted to be for money, but when you say choose between, I think 1 and 7, I didn't choose money. That was the best part. So obviously maybe money is not such a big problem for me as I believe that it is.
Yeah.
But it's maybe reflections of some other stucknesses, in my life that I was not aware of. And I always say, like, people believe that they can handle or become aware on their own certain stuff. But to me, I believe we are social beings, and we actually need each other, to kind of get a feedback, even like a mirror back, like, hey, it's not what you believe this is happening. This is what's actually happening.
Yes.
And if you become aware what's actually happening, then we can shift that.
Yes.
And this is exactly what happened to me. So my first constellation was, in the end, I ended up working on a relationship with my father, which is not the best, let's say, that way. It's actually, we are very distant. We were always very distant, emotionally, especially emotionally. But in the last few years, he was very judgmental toward me because I was not living by his expectations. So I was like, no, this is my boundary. Stay away. Like, no, it's not happening. So the best thing after we done the constellation, which was like so full of love, and I felt love, and I think everyone in that constellation felt such a deep divine love within. It was so beautiful. Next day, my mom was visiting me and brought me roses that my dad sent to me, like, first time in my life. He sent me flowers, which was like, but the funniest thing, after the constellation, I was just sensed something's going to change. I'm not observing what I already sensed that I'm going to literally witness that. Let's say next few days. This happened less than 12 hours later. Okay, that was
the next day, like it happened.
Oh
boom,
my God,
the next
like
morning.
literally, we had an evening, next day, bam, right?
Yeah. The thing is, how it happened was very surprising, because I work with open concepts. So sometimes I don't even know what's going to show up. And this is why I need to be super alert and I ask questions. And so what needed to be, so there's an open concept called what needs to be included. And a man was chosen. So a man was chosen in that role. And when the man looked at you, there you started crying, right? There was so much, and you felt like you could breathe and you could finally let this this connection in. And so this is why I started thinking, because she believes that she has such a bad relationship with her dad, maybe this is her dad. Because I think this is the thing. And I also had the same with my dad, is we have this mental construct about how we believe that the relationship has been. And because we're 50, we have enough evidence. We're like, yeah, that's just the way I am. That's how they are. But in the constellation, the love was so beautiful that I thought, this cannot be, I don't know, this cannot be like a stranger. It's probably also not even your boyfriend, because you don't have, or your partner, because that's not somebody that would open your heart to such an extent, because there's no issue there. This was like a new relationship that was very unexpected. And that's why I thought, let's see whether this is your dad. And then, you know, basically, people, if you work with me, I try to leave the parents out. I try,
Yes.
like in other constellations,
This
they bring in
time.
the parents immediately. But I'm like, try to keep the parents out. Let's look at the inner archetypes of this person, because then at least we don't need to focus on the parents. We focus on, how can you as an individual, so empowered, so intelligent, so many trainings, how can you make the steps that will make you complete? But in this constellation, the father's love was very important, and the field demonstrated the next day that he wanted more connection with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also one more thing. So this being like, some 3 weeks ago, something. So my mom usually, so my dad never called me, say, hi, how are you? Like, he never ever done that. Only if he needed something, then he calls. So my mom is doing that all the time. And of course, she was constantly complaining about him. Oh, he's this way and that way. And, you know, all sorts of this, you know, he's now 83 years old. So, you know, a bit of everything is kind of, you know, maybe dementia or something. But she's also there too. So it's like very interesting to listen from her perspective, everything. But the funny thing, ever since that constellation, she's not complaining about him. She complained only once in 3 weeks. Like, and I'm like, you know, I'm waiting, like, yeah, but nothing's happening. And I'm like, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So many things. And so I think, I know you personally don't like to go, you know, about parents, or, you know, in a sense of just like, you know, digging in the past, because, yeah, whatever. But in this particular one, this came to surface because for some reason, it was the most important for me and my life. Yes. And my money life in the end.
Yes, success, relationship with success.
Yes. And it's also like, I don't dramatize around money that much. You know, I'm actually not like, you know, it's there, it's not, it's coming, it's not coming, it's delaying or whatever. I'm in not that big drama like I used to be, you know, months ago or years ago or something. So a lot of things shifted from that within me. Yeah. Of course, there's always more to work. Yeah. But at that particular time, it was just like, And now even when I go into like back in old patterns, you know, of thinking or behavior or, you know, whatever, I very soon like, wait a second. No, this is just kind of the echo of the past, but this is no longer me. Yes. I stop, like literally, like rationally, stop. And then I do, you know, like kind of a self-energetic work, because deep within, it's not there anymore. Yeah. It's just, you know, just something that was repeated so many times. So on a very superficial level of, you know, ego or rational mind. But you're not possessed by it anymore. No, but it doesn't take over your whole body. Exactly. It's not defining me anymore, which is like a huge shift, right? Yeah. That's beautiful. We also did some, you know, because I also always experiment, because I cannot be put down to like one technique. This is why, you know, I always combine things. I'm always investing in new. If I feel my body needs to go there, I'll go there, and I won't even question it. I will say, because I trust my body.
or the sometimes I get blocks of thoughts from source or my higher self or angels, I don't know what, but I'll literally just do it. And so what I came up with was to combine releasing with constellations, and even to bring in these very new quantum potentials that Dr. Joe teaches us about, right? Like tune in to abundance, tune in to your future self. Like these are all concepts that even in the meditation, I'm like, wow, what does it feel like then? I don't know. But actually in the constellation, I thought, well, let's bring them in. So what was your experience with like really like you're releasing, you're thinking about something that causes a lot of stress, then I guide you to release, and then I bring in the new quantum potentials embodied in other people constellating it. Can you share a little bit about that, of how that helps you maybe take more control of your creative life force?
Yeah, that was like, to me, like when you release, at least this is what I believe. So when we release stuff, we actually kind of cleaning up the spice, because this is what I also tell my own clients. I mean, it goes for every single one of us, including myself. Like we carry a lot of baggage, you know, from wherever, not just from the past, but from whenever. And I call it usually garbage. It's mostly garbage that we carry, you know, that we are kind of attached to, and it's like a heavy burden, you know, we carry. So with releasing, it's like kind of letting go of that and kind of cleaning up the spice. So after we clean the spice with that, you know, combination with constellation, it's like, okay, when the space is clean, what you're going to put in there, so that we don't go back. It's like, I don't know what to put there. Let's put back. Let's put what we just released, because like it's familiar. It's something that we know, right? We are connected to it. With this, you know, when you brought this new stuff, like, you know, whatever it was, future self or whatever, I was like, oh, this is what I can put there. All right. This is what I would like to have there. And it feels awesome. And as the people who, you know, we're representing all sorts of aspects of that future, although the future can be in the next minute, it doesn't have to be in the next whatever, right? It kind of gave me, you know, like, oh, this is how they feel. Yes, I can feel that. If they can feel that, I can feel that, right? It's very possible. Not something in 10 years or something, maybe one day I will know. It can be right here, right now. It can be in the next 5 minutes. It can be right here, right now. It can be very near, as long as we allow to feel that.
We invite it in.
To integrate it, you said, to integrate that within. And that's like awesome. And I'm so grateful, you know, of meeting you, because I finally met someone who is in very similar, you know, like a wavelength, I would say, like me, because most others, like, you know what, whatever you say, I'm going to manipulate. You can't manipulate me. I don't, you know, like all the resistances will be so authentic from me that they would actually believe it's a real reason for not doing shifting. But with you, and above all, who are you being in energetic sense, you know, like that, you literally allow us, like, just be whatever. What do you want? What do you want to shift? Where do you want to go? And yeah, if I need to kick your ass, I will, because you need that, you want that, go for it. And that's why I'm so.
I didn't have to kick your ass in any of the constellations.
Yeah, she didn't have to, okay, guys, she didn't have to.
But if you pay extra, I will.
This is what I told also to one of my clients, you know, for something. I was like, you know, it was shift of perception. She was longing for the old job she had, because it was in a very famous institution, and she moved even in a higher position, but not so famous institution, okay? And she was like, oh my God. She said, I know it's my ego. It's my ego, because, like, you know, I was working there now, although it's like higher level, better salary and all sorts of stuff. And I said, but you were literally kind of abused there, you know, like emotionally and all that.
No.
Are you missing the abuse? Like, oh my God, what a shit, you know. So it's like that. Sometimes we need to just say straight to someone so that they shift. And I call that kick in the ass with a lot of love.
Tough love, tough love,
Love.
tough love. The thing is, I think the constellations, the way that we work is actually the constellations say it all. The constellations show you your split intentions, but what we also see is why, you know, very often people they understand split intention, but they don't understand what type of false narrative is keeping the split intention in place. And this is why when we bring in the new quantum potentials, then we see that their body can maybe they cannot even invite, let's say, love in. They cannot even invite, let's say, somebody representing success in. They literally will turn away and go back to the poverty consciousness or the place where they are in lack or fear. And so this is, I think, the fear of the unknown. But the unknown could literally be you stepping into trust, self-love, self-acceptance, accepting that you can succeed in whatever you choose to do. But it's really, I think there is a delay in our body wanting to thread into this unknown space of, oh, I define myself as somebody who is on a healing path for 20 years, and now I could be healed in 1 second. Wait a minute. And then, or no, actually, I feel so unworthy, and my worthiness is standing here and loving me unconditionally. I don't feel comfortable. Get away. So that's what we see. And so I never have to say much. I just witness with them, and the only thing that I can say is have them choose again, you know, because what you do see is that the field is speaking to you very much as a person, as an individual who is an issue holder, but for every representative who is
every representative,
super relevant and very much for them like an eye opener of here I am your money. And you don't even want to look at me, or I'm your money and you're choking me, you know?
Yes.
So
because I was also a representative in one constellation. I was money. And I was like, you ask what I sense, and it was like so much pressure. And I wanted to be away from that, from the issue holder, right? I just like, stay away from me. There's so much pressure there, right? And I sense that, like here, I sense that. And yeah, and it was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I do, you know, like with money. And like, no wonder it's running away from me. Or it's like, you know, I have to like work very hard to get it, because I think it's like, to me, you know, I also done like, I was the one who was hosting, you know, workshops on a money topic. Mm-hmm. And people had like crazy, you know, manifestations about it, but not me. They did. I'm so
it's coming. It's coming.
I'm so great for others, but for myself, not so much. But it was so great to experience that, you know, and just like for every representative, when you go into role, it's not coincidence you're in that role. There is reasons why you're there. And as I sensed it, I was like, but if only the pressure is released, yeah, then I want to play, then I want to be there as the money, right? I want to be around, I want to be contribution to that person, to their lives, to, you know, their expansions and everything, you know. And it hit me. I was like, oh, maybe my money is also thinking of me the same way.
It always is. You never get chosen for a constellation as a representative if it hasn't anything to do with you. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes more so because you are also going through that process of integration or awareness or awakening. But, you know, I haven't, but I think you will not show up if you shouldn't be there. And this is why I think every course that I run, the people that get drawn to it, they have to be there. They literally have to be there. And I've run workshops where people showed up that weren't even invited. Like I sometimes in London had private workshops with, okay, these are the people that are the clients because they paid. These are the people that show up as representative. And then suddenly people would show up that weren't even invited. And they said, no, but I was invited. And I was like, I'm sure I didn't invite you. But then this person, so this was the story. this was a client that wanted me to work with the book about angels. This is a very famous woman. She works with Mike Dooley. I forget her name, Lorna something. She works with angels. And I said, I don't have time for it. I'm not really feeling the connection with it. And literally somebody showed up and she represented the angels in her constellation. I mean, this is why I sort of get out of the way now, because that was like, whoa, maybe I should read the book about angels. And she gave it to me. She gave the book to me. But I still was like, I'm not sure I really resonate with the story, but I believe in angels, but the book itself, the way that she told the story wasn't my thing. But I mean, I don't think I can actually, I'm not in control. I feel like I'm a cooperative component, and everybody's a cooperative component for everything.
You facilitate everything happening, what you sense, what you download, you know, you just, yeah, that's what you do. You hold and you also hold the space for all that to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
What I do think is, because I've done the traditional constellations training, I've tried to do it the traditional way. But what I also saw, because I went to conferences where you could do all these like breakout workshops, is how creative the constellations world is. And so I always felt the freedom to actually experiment and to make it fun. And very quickly, when I started doing constellation, I already knew that the ancestors just give us excuses not to move forward. We use our parents as an excuse, and then you go 10 years more in therapy. What if your future self already was here? What if your future self already is calling you? It's like, hey, wait a minute. We have another path we have to walk, you know? We could do it today. And that was a download for me even before I was in the Dr. Joe work. And ever since then, it was just recently that I thought, let's put in the new quantum potentials. Why are we working with like just a few limited things, like the golden shadow, you know, the parts of us that we are not even identified with, that we feel, oh, that's not me, but that's something that we could integrate that would make our lives much easier. But also aspects such as, you know, more esoteric aspects like trust, or even divine surplus of money. I mean, those are the concepts that I want to work with, because I think because they are not really very dominant in our 3D reality, we need a few trailblazers that are going to maybe connect with these quantum potentials. Meditation is one of them, but I think constellations work is another one, where we could literally have people feel into the energy of it so that we can invite it in. And if we really believe we can create anything, we will need these new quantum potentials, because very often they weren't present in the systems and the cultures that we lived in. And so we are the ones that will have to bring it in. So I'm very excited about the things that I've been told to create, and I feel guided. I don't really think about what I need to create. I just get downloads, and then I say, oh, okay, I'll do it. And there's a lot of fun. And I'm really glad that you're in it as well, because you've always been so open and so much like, you literally can be so joyful and energetic, but in other constellations, you could be like a beacon of strength for somebody who's going through a big release of a lot of energetic, let's say, you know, trauma or whatever. So I'm really grateful to have met you as well. I know that you also do work with people, individuals. I mean, how can people find you in the future, and what can they look forward to? Because you told me you work with a lot of, you know, executives, but you also do trauma work. What type of people can come and talk to you about how you can help them?
Like my let's say my past, I started as a relationship coach, you know, specialized for people who went through divorce or like big breakups, and you know how to bounce back. This is how I started, because I personally went through divorce, so that was like very familiar to me, and I educated myself about relationships and all that stuff. But after, you know, years, like the feedback of my clients were like, Oh yeah, I feel great. I found someone, good love and all that. But by the way, I was also struggling with money, and now I got a salary that it's 10 times more than the previous one. And I was like, what? What's happening there? I also, it was my journey. I'm doing this business. It's going to be in November, 16 years. I opened up myself also to more spirituality, energy, and yeah, similar like you, like vibrations, frequencies, and all that stuff. So I'm kind of combining every knowledge that I have, any tool that I learned. Also in like releasing, I have some very fast releasing techniques that I do with people. But in the end, with everything I experience with my clients, is what I do is that I have found out that the worst relationship people have is that the ones they have with themselves.
Yeah.
And that relationship is actually the base for any other in our lives. So if we don't trust ourselves, we won't trust anyone, any partner. If we constantly are like, in drama, we're going to create drama in our relationships, right? Any relationships, not just romantic ones, in the business ones and friendship, it doesn't matter. We're just going to kind of reflect that in the world. We're going to attract that, right? I really believe in the law of attraction. So we attract similarities. And I was like wondering, why is that happening? Why we treat ourselves so badly? Like self-care, self-love, like 0 or -1, 2 or something. And then I got a feedback from people like, I said, but I'll help you be who you truly are. You're like your original you, your unique you, that like just by being birthed in this, life, you bring that with yourself. That's like the special gift we all carry to this world. We can share it with. And then a lot of people told me, but I'm afraid. I'm so afraid to be who I am. I'm afraid to show the world who I truly am. I'm sure even afraid to show, my spouses, my like close people to us, who I truly am. I said, why are you afraid to be judged?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And usually it's like, oh my God, people don't feel safe. Literally, people don't feel safe to be who they truly are. So I help people, heal any wounds from the past, any baggage they carry, any garbage, any burden. I'll help them to heal that, to shift, to transform that. I kind of have a lot of insights and downloads when I work with someone for that particular person or the group of people or a small group of people. So it's like, it's similar to Constellation, but not a lot of people are involved. It's me and it's just coming.
Yeah.
I don't know how and when. It's just like the information are coming and they're like, how did you get that? I said, I have no idea why I'm asking you that, but it came to me. Has that anything to do with you? And they're like, oh, hell yeah. And then a lot of shifts happening and healing and shifting. And through that releasing of this kind of, heaviness within them, they're like, oh my God, this story does not define me anymore. I'm like, I own the story and I'm empowered. They feel more confident, they feel more empowered. They vibrate far higher. Yes. And I think that's why they attract all these other beauties in their life. They heal, some illnesses that like nobody could help me. I'm 70% better. And we never even talked about it. Like, what? And or they attract more money or their love in their lives. Because when we vibrate that high, this is exactly what you say, then anything is possible. And it's not hard work together. It's literally like it's delivered to us, right? Because we are finally open to receive. And I think because they feel finally safe. This is who I am. I own it. I'm not. So I say it's not only enough to be aware who you truly are, your original you. You have to be that, like being that and owning that, like I own it. And then I live that, then I live it. I'm just live it every single, day in life. Yeah. And that's why, some people, I had people who were like, even on medications with psychiatrists, like deep depressions, anxieties, OCDs, PTSDs, and all that stuff for 25 years. Oh my God, one guy how long are you there? 25 years. I'm like, what? He came because of the breakup. And I was like, listen, the breakup is the last thing you need to take care of. This is
Exactly.
And then like after 25 years, when someone tells you, you know, after like say a month of work or so, oh my God, first time after 25 years, I feel peace within. That's like, like how nobody else could help you. And this is one of,
because I don't think you do talk therapy. You are working, you are literally going into their energy field, and you basically see almost like in a constellation. In my work, it would happen in a constellation, but in your work, you're just feeling it and you're just clearing it up, and then you're just basically probably also giving them choices.
Clearing, letting go, just like you, just like similar in some different ways. But this is like, and that's miraculous to me. Like when I get that kind of feedback, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to do more of that. Like there are people that actually, like there are people who need you, you know, to help them, and there are people who need me to help them. Right?
Absolutely. And like, I hope that everybody that I work with, everybody I work with has a special mission, I think, because not everybody will be attracted to my work. Some will think it's scary to, for instance, work in a group, and they don't want it, and they should work with somebody who doesn't do these group sessions, you know. And a lot of people will want to work one-on-one. I know people that say, I don't want to be recorded, I don't want anybody to know about what's going on with me.
Exactly.
By all means, work with all the people that don't do group work. I just happen to love group work.
Yeah. That's why I have both, right? I started doing one-on-ones, then I did groups, and then I came back to one-on-ones, and now I want to introduce group online because I haven't done groups online. Not something long-term, something short, like a short workshops, like 1 month or something, but something like longer period, I haven't. But it doesn't matter. I also love the groups because there is a certain thing about groups, the energy of the group, and mutual contribution of people who are participating is like really fantastic. So in the past, I worked with a lot of executives, and I have a like a title that I'm executive coach and life coach. Like I got certification about that. But the thing is, I have given up, like, you know, selling myself to companies and all that, because they're like, you're going into that coaching stuff, you know. And actually, I want to work with people who are like, I really want to work with you. I'm fed up of this, or listen, from now on, I want something different in my life. Not that someone said you have to do it, but that it's from within you, I want to do it.
You're talking about the performance coaching, because the company says you are not measuring up.
Or it's just like, you're
on
this level, we're going to pay you so that, you know, like we're going to show you that we care for you and all that. Nobody asked him, does he want it or not? He or she, doesn't matter. I was once a part of a huge project. A lot of people on a certain middle management and higher went into coaching. There were like 10 coaches involved because this was a huge international company. And oh my God, like 1/3 of people benefited like big time. 1/3 was like, and 1/3 was like, why the hell are we here? It was literally like that. And I was like, no. And they're all about negotiations. They're all about dumping prices. You know, there's someone else on the market who can do it. Like, is that click present or not? That's what I'm missing. Is it like heck yeah or heck no? If it's not heck yeah, then it's a heck no. Then don't come to me. Like, no. And if it's a heck yeah, then we can create miracles, like really, really crazy stuff. And for anyone in any direction, because right, and you know that the way when we change how we vibrate here, when we unstuck whatever is stuck there, when there is a flow, then things manifest and come in our lives like you don't even believe, like that's possible.
We have to get out of the way.
Yes, we have to. I had a woman who came to me, listen, I'm divorced for 2 years now, and I still have cold grudges against my husband. I want to, you know, like release that. I know it's holding me and all that stuff. But listen, I don't ever want to work of him coming back to me, like we coming back together. Never. This is really your choice, right? We're never going to work on something that you don't want, right? We finished working. She was the one who like her immune illness went better 70%. She got that 10x salary, 2 months after after our work. And 1 year later, she got back with her ex. And now we're
Oh,
6 years together. They bought a house together and they have
no.
sons. So the family is reunited, so it's so
Oh,
crazy. But the
goosebumps.
best thing, so our ego, nope, I don't want this. Like,
It's very how much we lie to ourselves. And can you see that sometimes when we are the most charged about people, we care the most? Because I think when you're really over somebody, you're in, what is it? You really literally, it's indifference.
yes,
Like whatever it happens or not, whatever. Who was it again? Oh yeah, my ex-husband that I have a son with. Oh yeah, but I completely forgot. The more charge you have, the more you need to look at it. And actually, I was studying some of the fast EFT videos for about relationships because they were my favorite topic. But literally, he basically advises everybody, every resistance you have, even if it's about mayonnaise, you have to clear on it. And he gave a lot of examples of how people said, I have bigger things to clear than mayonnaise, or I have bigger things to clear than my food allergies. But literally, when people start to look at the resistance, so many big things behind it are creating, let's say, these allergies in your body or some kind of reaction. And what I also saw, what was very interesting, because Robert Jean Smith doesn't really believe in law of attraction, he would tell us that these people that have resistance towards, let's say, mayonnaise, they would manifest it all the time. Like everywhere they would manifest mayonnaise. And I'm like, I don't have the mayonnaise problem, but so probably it's in their field and I don't want mayonnaise. They keep manifesting it. So it's like, okay, more importantly, the David Hawkins scale, if we are in resistance, we are literally in below 200. We're not taking responsibility. This energy is stuck creating what we don't want. Better to clear it. And this is why my download was, before you're going to do this whole constellations course about the basic quantum prosperous money or love is the boss, which is a relationship course, we better do some clearing, because if people don't know how to clear, it's just going to be like a Pandora's box that we're going to be constellating. And I don't know whether I'll enjoy that. So yeah. So when your website is done, I will put your website under this.
You can put it, yeah. And I just wanted to add something, like this, the mayonnaise topic. The thing is that I think was it Deepak Chopra or Osho? I think Osho said, like, if you really, 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 really want something, you will get that. And if you really, 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 really don't want something, you will get that too. The
Yes.
thing in a universe, negation don't exist. They exist only in our language. So whatever you're opposing or resisting, it will come your way anyway. So better focus on what you want and be careful about it. And be careful about it. Not on what you don't want, because that will show up too. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah. And I think the benefit of the way that we work is that, we discussed it before we had this interview, which is in law of attraction, some schools say, don't think about what you don't want, just don't pay attention to it. But I tried that and didn't work. So although I was manifesting very quickly, vision boards, mind movies, whatever, affirmations, I would still be carrying around the resistance around it, or the negative stuff, or the fears and the worries and the phobias sometimes. I had a lot of phobia of being abandoned in relationships or ghosted. Guess what I manifested? And so I do feel that we do need to clear it, yeah. And there are methods that are very easy that you can learn yourself, so that you don't have to, basically pay somebody. But it takes time to learn it, because sometimes we sort of we feel we are so in a trance that we forget to clear. But this is what really this awareness training of, how do you know you're back in a trance? How do you know you're back in the program, right? How do you know that you're unconscious? That is when you clear. And it literally can be 5 minutes. It could be 1 minute. Yeah. So why not do it, right?
And it's also, just we said before, like, you know, a lot of people, some who are in this, for a long time, like you and me, we already know what's going on, how the things are working, but some are like quite new to it. Like, okay, when you coach someone, when you do the healing, when you do constellation, whatever, what actually do you do? And, to me, I'm like, I say always, number one thing, I expand your awareness, where you become more and more aware what's happening, beneath, right, deep inside in our unconscious part. And that's what's ruling our lives. And that's why if you are not aware what it is, for example, if you're hungry and someone is constantly giving you water, you're like, yeah, thank you. But actually you're not thirsty, you're hungry. But if you believe you're thirsty, you won't change what's actually happening. And that's why going deeper, right, going behind all these layers of whatever we believe it's there, it's actually shifting stuff. And that's why constellations go so deep, like to the core, right? And it's also the way I work. I will always say we go to the core, to the root. When we go to the root, then things shift. You can't just like, do the makeover, like, put the makeup and like, yeah, everything's fine. No, it's not. That's not enough. Yeah. And that's why the things, what you do, right, they're working, actually, they are shifting people, because it's deep. It's deep.
How do we know something shifts? It's like in your case, right? The environment shifts. Because when we really shift, it's like that picture behind you, but then imagine that it's water. You have a quantum stone drop. The shift is basically experience in the people around you, because we are interconnected. And when have you not shifted? You just feel happy, but you just blocked people. You just basically said, delete in your phone or talk to a lawyer. Yeah, that person cannot be at 10 kilometers from my home. Those things don't work, because what I do see is that, and this is also, my personal story with Constellation. When I did my first Constellation, where I had to face my mom and dad, my dad shifted hugely. And he shifted in a way that I never knew him. And I had a story about him. And he shifted in a way that Chinese dads don't show up like that. And so I was like, whoa, this work is powerful, man. So, but we have to, when we are stuck, there are tools out there, and just follow your intuition. And because you really don't know how much healing, how much love, how much peace, how much harmony you as the one person in the family doing the work can bring, even if we have lifetimes of stories about our parents, our ex-husband, or children, or whatever.
I just remembered that a few days ago, I went to my, home city where I was from. And I accidentally ran into my aunt, who is like, who tried to stand between my mom and dad, because that's her brother. My father is like her brother, and like, yeah, that woman, all that. And she ran into both of us, me and my mom. And she, before she called me all that, not for years, she's not. And she was like, oh my God, where have you been? You don't get old. How come you don't get, this is what she told me. And she also kissed my mom and asked her to go for a coffee with her.
That's crazy.
It's not just my dad, but even a further, bigger family around.
This is beautiful news. It's beautiful news, because the relation. So basically, the people that study constellations know this. Sometimes we act cold to each other, but it's like, you are loyal to your dad, who was loyal to his family. And of course, your aunt is part of that family. So when you are going to work with, let's say, somebody who turns out to be your dad in the constellation, because we didn't put in your dad, he just showed up. That is the wisdom of the field. And the way that I work is I trust the field. I surrender to the field. I literally will go like sit in a pen of paper and say, what should we work with? And I get concepts. Sometimes I get complete new concepts that I never even worked with, and like and then I write them down, and very often they're very important to the person that will be chosen by the field. Sometimes we don't even know who's going to be chosen, but the field knows. So it's really beautiful, the way that there is an invisible hand sometimes guiding us. And that's what has given me so much hope about life, because to be honest, the last 2 or 3 years have been a huge bit of a nightmare for my fragile being that didn't feel safe anymore on earth. And literally I was judging the planets that we live in. I was judging a lot of the life that we had to live. And I went back to this victimhood where I thought, oh, I can't wait to be gone. But actually, if I now look at the work that we're doing and how divine, how we are always guided and we're supported, that has given me more of a feeling of how much help is there and how much we have to do our part. All of us, each one of us has to do our part. But to do that, we cannot carry the garbage with us. And the garbage is talk shit to yourself, believe all the shit that you think about yourself, and not do anything about it and hope that somebody will do it for you. No, we have to do it ourselves. We have to change the program from within by recognizing it and saying, you know what, maybe I need some help, or maybe I need to be more, maybe I can't not just ignore it. It's not that the person's fault. Actually, if I do the work, maybe they will change as well, you know? So yeah, there is a higher power. So Jasmina,
Can I just say one thing? I don't have a website yet, but I have a podcast I started. So you
what's
can
it called?
It's called Soulful Magenta Conversations.
Soulful Magenta?
Yeah, Conversations. It's on YouTube. I'll send you a link.
Yes.
Anyway, the magenta is one of my favorite colors, as you can see, as you can see, right?
Wow.
Also, magenta is a very powerful color in a sense of healing and vibration of a color, which I didn't know, but my partner Lori, who is doing the podcast with me, she like did the research. I was like, this is interesting.
Wow.
It's like we said that we were talking to each other a lot, you know, and we said, oh my God, if this would be recorded, it could be a contribution to someone, because, you know, we're sharing our experiences, wisdom, and all that stuff there. So if someone wants to just listen it up, go ahead, listen it up. You can subscribe, whatever. We are now collecting subscribers, you know, to reach a certain goal for YouTube to be more visible, all that stuff. But it's like around 20 minutes long. It's never too long, you know. It doesn't bother people like, oh my God, when they're going to stop. You know? But this is like where people can find me, or, you know, listen what I have to share.
I will look you up and I will subscribe, and I'm sure people will want to hear about all the things that you have to share. And and when you have your offer ready, we could do a little workshop, you know, like for people.
Yeah, sure. Sure, we can do it. Sure.
Yes. So thank you so much, Jazz. And I mean, I am so grateful. And so my heart is so moved and touched by what I saw in your constellation. Even if your dad didn't do anything, we would know in our hearts that he loves you, right? So that is how much we were already happy in the constellation. But to see that it actually changed the relationship of your parents. And we know how parents are. They love complaining about each other. It's not him, it's me, you know.
Yeah, of course. It's always someone else, right?
Yeah. So, and also then your aunt, oh my gosh, that is amazing. And but also, of course, not everybody wants to do constellations work, and people.
And also, so my partner saw the shift within me. He said, I sense you different. I see you different. You're more grounded. You're more, you know, like more of whatever, just like more calm,
present,
more present, more calm, and all that stuff. So it's like, really, it does shift when you allow yourself, right? What you said about in the last constellation, when I like my shadow is like my powerful feminine, and it's about receiving. So hello world, universe, I'm open to receive.
Absolutely. So No, it just has moved me so much because it reminds me of my constellation with my dad. And the funny thing is, I wasn't as gracious when my dad started sending me emails of how much he loved me and missed me. I never wrote back because I still had to get over my loyalty to my mom. And it took me years. So I'm just hoping that people don't have to repeat my mistakes of being stuck for 20 years. Taking more and more different techniques to try and get over things but the way that I work is more showing you where you can get stuck, where you can choose to be stuck, and where you can choose powerfully not to be stuck, and that's it. And it's not about the blame against our parents or their stuff. It really is blocking our abundance. It's blocking our joy. It's blocking our contribution and our life purpose of being here with all the gifts and talents and skills we have. So I look forward to also listening to your podcast, and thank you so much, Jazz, and everybody follow Jazz. Lots of love.
Thank
Bye.
you, Angelique. Bye.
Bye.